Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Mazda U.S. Prep Webinar Session 13, the one-of-a-kind exclusive webinar celebrating Mazda Thailand's 72nd anniversary and ongoing support of Mazda U.S. College Prep Junior Golf Championship tournaments, featuring 72 U.S. college coaches and partner organizations in 3 weeks. My name is Keo Jai Naksakun, a senior advisor of ARD Agency College Recruit Consulting Team. I'll be your webinar host today. And with me, I have AR Senior Consulting Global Director Kun Jum Juthamat Tajumpa and Senior Consulting Global Advisor Kun Tan Chanoknat Kamkiti. Let's all watch a short video recap of previous Mazda U.S. College Prep Junior Golf Championship events. All right, time to meet our special speakers tonight. We have three college coaches with us right now from Marymount and University of Minnesota. Please introduce yourself and your school, and then I will be asking questions most parents and kids are excited to know. And after about 30 minutes, I will open up for the questions from the audience. Go ahead. First up, Coach Rob Ferguson from
Hi,
Rob first. No,
Rob.
Daniel first. Sorry, Daniel. Okay, my slides are not lining up. Rob Ferguson from Marymount University. You're first up.
Yes, hi, my name's Rob Ferguson. I'm from Marymount University. I'm the women's golf coach. We are located right outside of Washington, D.C., very convenient for traveling, and we're on a good winning streak as of late. Anything else you want me to add, or?
Hello?
Did you hear me at all or not?
It kind of went off.
My name is Rob, women's golf coach at Marymount University. We're located just outside of Washington, D.C. We're a Division III school. We have been to national championship 3 of the last 5 years, and look forward to being on the panel today.
All right, thank you, Rob. Next up is Daniel.
Hi, I'm Daniel Neben. I'm the men's golf coach at Marymount University. Like Rob said, we're a Division III school. We play in the Massachusetts Athletic Conference up in the Northeast in the U.S. And we've been to the national championships twice in the last 3 years. So we're on the up and up, which is nice.
All right, thank you. And last but not least, Coach Miranda Green.
Hi, everyone. I'm Miranda Green. I'm the Associate Head Golf Coach at University of Minnesota. This is my second year. University of Minnesota, we're in the Big Ten Conference, so D1 Big Ten Conference, pretty big school, about 55,000 students, so large campus. We're in the hub of Minneapolis, so a big metropolitan city, lots of big companies, home of, I believe it's like 16 Fortune 500 companies. So really a part of a great community here, and happy to meet you guys.
Yeah, thank you, coaches. It's been a great pleasure to have you with us tonight. And all of you come to a good start in this season. So we are excited with you guys. Let me kick off with questions about recruiting process. I'm sure kids are excited to join your team. Coach Daniel, great results. And what are the main qualities of golfers you are recruiting?
I'm usually looking for players. I mean, obviously, score counts. Score is kind of the number one differentiator. But after that, grades. I need to make sure that kids can pass classes. Marymount is kind of one of the mid-tier academic schools. It's there's a couple of really good majors there, but it's not an Ivy League school by any means. So I don't necessarily need kids with 4.0 GPAs. I'm looking for kids that I know that can pass classes somewhere in the 3.0 to 4.0 range. But I'm also looking for kids that have a passion for to play the game and want to get better. We've got a kind of a small team. We're 10 players maximum. And we've got some really good facilities to utilize, and so I'm really looking for the players that want to play at a very, very high level and want to get better and want to spend their extra time at the golf course. So
Ah, okay, thank you. I guess that's important. And we are looking at student athlete. That means they have to be student and athlete.
correct.
But can I ask, Miranda, do you have international players in your team, and how do you recruit international players?
Yeah, so we have this year we have three. I think moving forward we could definitely add more. We actually our new cap is at 9 players, and so last year we were only at 7, so definitely a lot more room, a lot more roster spots just in general to add some international players. But what we look for, obviously, like you said, they're students first, athletes second, so they have to be able to come in, pass classes. Minnesota, we have a great academic school. I believe we're top 25, and then I think business school is top 10. So you got to have high academics to be able to get into some of these programs. So that would be number one. And then, kind of like what we look for, we just look for kids that have that competitive edge, that want to come in and fit our culture. So, those are the things that we look for.
And I know that we submit like profiles for the golfers. And may I ask, Rob, to what extent do you use, those media, video profile and social media in your decision to recruit?
Sure. I think one of our main things at Marymount is Washington, D.C. being so close. In those profiles, you're looking at a good GPA, probably good video, good like a resume of how you played golf, where you played golf, have you been in the United States, also just kind of how you travel. And in other words, college golf is a little bit different than being an individual, and it's riding in the vans, it's flying in the airplanes, it's all kind of different things that you have to kind of get used to when you're going there. So if you've traveled some, that really helps. If you've been to the United States, that makes it that much easier. And then also me and where Daniel's same school, so we have a good chemistry where I feel like the international kids fit into the school really well. They like the food here in Washington, D.C. because there's a lot of choices of things to go and eat. It's an easy culture to get along with, depending, just because it's so diverse right here in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. And do men's golf team and women's golf team coaches like watch video and review the profile together, or you do it separately?
Separately, there might be a time or two where, they might say, "What do you think of this?" Or I might send them, to, same kind of things. A lot of times when they're coming, watching them play in person in Florida or down at Kings Mill or some of the trips that are set up, try to make it there to watch the golfers play. So it makes that much easier to have interaction and give them a little bit more background on what we do. We're trying to make, both me and Daniel are teaching golf professionals in the United States, send a lot of kids to play college. We're here to make them improve their games and their experience in college also to be a fun one, and see how far we can take them, and hopefully play in a lot of national championships.
So let me ask, because these are something that we are excited to know, like how soon you start following players and getting to know them, and then how soon, how young the golfers are normally, for all of you, Miranda?
Yeah, well, obviously, we have rules on when we can talk to certain classes, but the first day that we're allowed to make phone calls, I mean, we're up making phone calls immediately as it turns. So we'll already have our spreadsheets kind of ranked out of by country, honestly. We rank through kind of the top kids in each country. And so we start that immediately. Even though we can't reach out to 2028s, 2029s, we kind of already have our spreadsheets ready to go for when that day comes.
Mhm. Okay, so I think it's good to start, putting in good profile.
And I
Can
would
I
just add,
ask? Yeah.
all the emails that we get, I mean, even though we can't
Mm-mm.
like respond to them yet, I mean, we definitely read them, we go through them thoroughly.
Okay.
So, I think sometimes kids wait until, it's that day that coaches can respond. But, I always say, I mean, send me as many emails as you want. It's great to put your name out there before.
Mm. Okay. So when you read through the emails or watch videos, is there anything that you consider a red flag that say this is something that you're not interested in? Marymount?
I don't know if there's any red flags. You want to have a good GPA. The better GPA you have, the better scholarship you get. That's being able to communicate. And what I mean by that is just like email back and forth, or WhatsApp, or however you want to communicate. Doing those things really help you get a idea of how engaged they are, and being engaged is important, especially if you're interested in that university. I believe it's a big red flag when you don't communicate well. It doesn't take too much time to respond to a text, a like, or something like that. So communication's big for me, and non-communication is kind of a red flag.
I guess, yeah, so you're saying, communication, if they're not communicating well, that's the red flag. And if academic performance are not great, that might be a problem when they study. That could be another one. So Daniel, what do you say it's a good academic indications, like GPA, the SAT, ACT in your recruiting decision, Daniel? I can't hear you, sorry. Uh, Does Rob or Miranda, can you hear Daniel? Yes or
No,
no?
I cannot.
No.
Nope.
No.
Oh, yeah. Something's with your microphone. So let me just uh went ahead and start asking next question. Maybe it'll come around because it was okay earlier. All right. Let me follow up with the questions about the academic performance. Rob, what's the difference between Division 1, 2, 3 in terms of academic performances?
Well, really none. Division three is the higher GPA you have at Marymount, the higher scholarship you get. So the better grades you have, you don't have to be 4.0, but the better grades you have, that really helps out. It's a benefit because your cost of going to school decreases the higher scholarship you get. I've sent kids to play Division two and Division one. There are merit scholarships there and athletic scholarships. In Division three, there's no athletic scholarships. Every school is different. Like the Big East is right around us, and they have no scholarships. You have to, if you have a merit scholarship and they're Division one, Division two, it's an ever changing kind of who has scholarships and how many scholarships they have. and kind of do that. So it's researching each school to take a look at what's going on. And I think if you ask the coaches up front and you say, you know, we're doing this, we're doing that, then it's easy to find matches for you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. So check your school, the admissions and things like that, and you know, I think I hear it often that do not neglect your academic performances. Can I ask Miranda then what resource that you have for students? You know, once they get in, but then how do they improve their grades? Do you have resources to support them?
Yeah, we have a great system. You know, we always say, you know, there's no reason to struggle, right? When you're a student here. I mean, they have every resource in the book. So starting with, we have a great academic advisor. So he's just for us. And so for my 9 girls, I mean, my freshmen are doing weekly meetings with him after your freshman year. You don't have to do weekly, but he's checking in grade reports every week. And so, we see him as an extension of our staff. So he's very involved. With that as well, we have a tutoring center. We have a great tutoring center. So for any class you need, um, you can have a tutor pretty much within a few hours. So we try to make sure our girls sign up ahead so they're not doing last minute. But so yeah, they have that. Um, what else do they have? Tutors, they have that. They have all the study rooms. We have what's called Athletes Village, and so it's kind of like a one-stop shop for everything. So academic wise, I mean, they have every resource that they can use. And we're lucky too with our professors and missing classes. You know, we're on the road a lot, we're traveling a lot. But they're very understanding being at a Big Ten institution that, sports are big and they work around with our kids. So
Right, that's good to hear. So can we check with Daniel if his microphone is back? Daniel? Nope, we can't hear. So let's ask Rob then about the practice schedule at Marymount. You know, what's a week of a student's life like? You know, classes, practices, gyms, and competition.
Sure. Typical week, like we just finished playing this weekend, so I'll just kind of go through what we did in the week. Monday was a day off. Tuesday, we had practice in the evening. They had strength training. It's optional for me if they want to go to that. Wednesday, they had a little bit of practice in the afternoon. Everybody's kind of on different schedules because I have seniors, and it works out a little bit different where you have labs and different stuff like that. So it's a little bit different in Division III than it is like in Division I. Friday, we went and played golf. We took a practice run. We played 18 holes. Then we played a tournament over the weekend. That's basically typical of what we do. At a couple practices a week. They have strength and conditioning. They have a medical staff there if they want to get some training, if they have some injuries and things like that. It works out really well for as much time you want to put into it. We're super convenient. The men's team practices at TPC Avenue, which is about 15 minutes away, but it's PGA Tour stop. And then we're located, our properties touch for the school. So where I'm at, we have a great practice facility at the country club, and that's where we practice, and it's very convenient. So most of the time they come and practice. The men's team comes here some, but most of the time they go to TPC. It's very easy. It's very convenient because it's so close. Some of the players, like Eunice, she's from Malaysia. She practices probably 7 times a week. We don't, not mandatory practice. She just enjoys practicing just because she never had facilities like this, and she's improved quite a bit. So,
Yeah, that's great. What about like in season, like in tournament season? Do they travel and how do they arrange it with their schoolwork?
we sure. We just played a tournament up in Maryland, and we play again this weekend. We're going up to play in Pennsylvania. And on Friday, we have a practice round. Saturday, we'll play. And then Sunday's the final round of the tournament, typically. This week is Sunday, Monday. So we're missing a day of school, but it's all set up in advance, and they know that they're missing. And if they need to, they come back and get tutored. If they need to take a test, they go to the tutor lab and take the test. But it works out. Missing class is not any big deal at Marymount. The other thing is, for me, I have nurses. I have, I'm not a big coach on having your major where it's that big a deal. You're a student athlete. I love winning. Winning is really important, but it's not the end of the world there. And you're basically having fun as a student also. So it works out really well.
Okay, that's good. I guess, when you travel for tournaments, you didn't bring all your team members. They'd have to qualify to go, right? How competitive is it? Miranda, maybe I should ask you, like, to qualify for playoff.
Most tournaments,
Yeah.
I try the whole team.
Sorry.
It's I believe Daniel took the whole team this weekend too. It's easy to play as an individual. That way you're part of things. I use that as qualifying to play in the next tournament, seeding and things like that. So when you're in the team, you're in fully. Like you're going to see a lot of action there. It's not like there's 5 and the rest of them stay at home and fly someplace. And it's just a little bit different when it happens. We're on the road, stay in the hotel overnight on Friday and Saturday night, and head back Sunday after we're playing. So it's very good team atmosphere. I would say Marymount's not a big school, but it feels very friendly and family.
Good. What about Miranda? Is it the same for you? How you do that in Minnesota?
Yeah, so kind of unlike Rob, I mean, we'd love to bring the whole team, but for us, kind of unrealistic sometimes. If we could, we would. But it just depends on each tournament, right? Like how many they're gonna let you have, how many individuals they're gonna let you have. So, we always travel 5, obviously. We try to bring individuals when we can. So, we have 2 tournaments this year where everyone's playing, which is great. How we do qualifying, we first start the season, we try to get as many rounds as possible. Our kind of motto philosophy is, kind of take it out of our hands, like don't have us pick, like go earn your spot, right? And so we do mini qualifiers basically. So if we play 9 rounds to start, we'll split those up into 3. And if you win, after the first 3 rounds, if you're leading, okay, you earned your spot. Then we start over. So we do mini tournaments to try to simulate, what it's really like in a tournament. And so, we have a great lineup this year. So it's been awesome to kind of see interchangings of who's playing. And but yeah, that's how we do it. Sometimes it depends on the tournament, between we go to Illinois this week at Medina in Chicago. And then we're in Tulsa's event like 3 days after we get back. And so obviously we don't have time to do qualifier. So we have to break down, stats for the semester, course fit, make sure grades are good, which they are, but all that kind of stuff, it's a lot of considerations, not just always who's playing the best of who's going. So
Wow. That schedule must be very hectic, like, organizing that time classes and tournaments as well. Um, I want to ask coaches, I know student athletes developing their not just the sport skills and techniques, but they also learn, how to become a great sportsman, leadership, communication, and that makes them desirable for employers once they graduated. Do you have specific training to build them those characters? I asked for both universities. Miranda first.
yeah, of course. So we have, that's really important. We always, we look at our athletes and like, yes, you're here for your 4 years, but it's our goal to develop you after those 4 years. Like what's next, whether, it's the goal to be a mom, to play pro, go on tour, to go be a doctor. And so when our kids come in at freshmen, we try to see like what their big end goal is at first. And then, what are the things that we can do each year to help you get there? So resource wise, we have a great resource called like the Link Center. And so they're really good they'll do mock interviews with the kids. They'll help the kids with internships. If we have a kid from wherever, let's say, whatever, Germany, they're going to look at all of our alumni in Germany and try to help that kid get into an internship or a job that aligns with what they want to do. On top of that, resource wise, just to help them be a better person, we have a great sports psychology department. And so, technically, I guess we can't know when our kids are going, but it's great. It's a great resource where we have 5 full-time people on staff. And so they can always use that resource. But we always encourage, obviously we have a really busy schedule, but anything that they can do to better themselves, whether it's internships, a lot of our kids do internships in the summer, or just even going to shadow, right? I mean, you don't know what you don't know. So maybe you think you want to do something until you go and you see it and you're like, wow, this is not for me. So that's how we encourage our kids.
Is it the same for you, Rob? And Coach Daniel, if you can start talking whenever you want to try out, see if you can answer our questions.
Sure. At Marymount, in your senior, you have to do an internship, and it has to do with all the classes you've been taking. It's a great introduction into the working world. It also helps you find out if that's the right fit for you. As you do these things, if they spend a summer here in Washington, D.C., you could get an internship during the summer and for extra credit type of towards your degree also. So there's plenty of opportunities here because there's so many jobs in the nation capital and there's plenty of choices to do. But it is mandatory as a student that in your senior year you do an internship, which leads you into the real working world. And it's also very easy to kind of broaden your horizons a little bit and see what other kids do, just because it happens to the seniors, the juniors figure it out, and then so on and so on down the line. And the communication of being a small school helps you do that.
Can I ask then, small schools, big schools, scholarships is always important because that's one of the factors that parents has to prepare. Can I ask Marymount that do you consider international students to get the same scholarship opportunities as U.S. players?
Yes, they do. It's the merit-based scholarship. It's the main scholarship for the school. It's done basically off your GPA or test scores if you decide to do that. It's very equivalent of that. They do a very good job. I believe about 10 or 11% of the students at Marymount are international students. I would say probably out of that, 6 or 7% of them are probably student athletes playing different sports. So it works out really well. The scholarships you get, if you decide not to play anymore, you still get the same scholarship. And if you don't play golf as well, you still get the same scholarship. So there's no trying to figure out if I'm getting a bigger scholarship, less scholarship, I'm losing my scholarship or anything like that. It's the same scholarship for 4 years.
Mm. Does tournament titles that they play affect your financial allocation for the scholarship, Miranda?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, tournament titles are they important when you make decision to allocate financial aid for each of this recruit?
I would say yes and no. Obviously it's great when, kids can get on that national platform and, compete against, the best of the best, but I think we look at it, but it's not like the deciding factor. We look at many other things. And so I think it's more just getting out to play. So yeah, like it's great if you can go to that national tournament, play well, obviously. But we definitely deep dive more just into that. I think it's more of just, you gain experience from playing tournaments. So kind of our philosophy is, we want kids that, not that you have to play a tournament every single week, but, just getting out there, getting that experience, feeling that pressure, whether it's failing, succeeding, it's just being out there playing. So I wouldn't say financials fully correlate with just like the tournament title.
Mm-hmm. So, and when they are already in your team, if they don't perform well in tournaments, does that affect their financial aid?
No, no, it doesn't. So, no. So, I mean, golf is golf, right? I mean, we all have slumps. We all go through it sometimes, right? And so, I think it's our jobs as coaches to figure out why they're not performing. We brought them here for a reason, right? We know they can play. It's just maybe it's an adjustment issue being a freshman, which happens all the time. I mean, you come and your expectations are here. But no, it does not impact financials.
That's reassuring to know. Same for you, Rob. If they don't play well, they don't have good season, does that affect anything?
No, not really.
Is my
Sometimes you play better, sometimes you play worse. The idea is if you can see improvement and try to make you a better person, better player, and do those things, then you're going to be successful. I believe anybody makes a lot of hard work and is a hard worker and wants to put the effort into it, they'll get a lot out of it. It's those players that I look for. It's not necessarily how many big tournaments. I do like to watch people play. So, the tournaments where your group is hosted over here in the United States, I don't get to all of them, but I try to get to them just so that I can meet and greet and get a better idea if it's a good fit for me, it's a good fit for them. So it works out well. I think you should play in some events. I think measuring yourself against the best players, in your country and, playing the local stuff and participating, a lot is a big part of things.
Is my mic working? Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah.
Ah,
Can you
back.
add
Okay,
in,
cool.
Daniel? Go ahead and add
I
in.
had to exit out and then come back in. All right, so our scoring average, our team scoring average has dropped significantly in the last couple of years. And so I think, from a financial aid standpoint, we can't offer any athletic scholarships. So like Rob said, everything's merit-based. But in terms of recruiting, I'm looking more myself personally, I'm looking more for players that are playing on the national stage and players that are scoring better on the national stage. And we know that that we can't recruit the mid-major D1 player. That's not going to be a possibility for us because those players, a majority of them want to go try and play professionally after college. And as a D3 university, we know that 99.9% of players that play for us aren't going to professionally. And that's a given. So, I'm looking for the player that is kind of borderline D1, D2 level, and that I can turn into one player because doing that with players that are coming out of high school going to play D1 golf. And so I'm actually a lot for the player that I can use it as a little project to get to that level. Um, as much as I have them around and help, I know that if I can get a player better over a year or two span and have them transfer up and out, it makes our program better. So I would prefer to have 2-year transfers. There's that come in for play for me for 2 years and then transfer to a D1 program. I think that's a good thing for us. I want to touch really quick on. I didn't get to speak earlier about, but the red flags that Coach Rob was talking about. The biggest pet peeve of mine is on the communication side. It's when I get.
Okay, you drop your microphone and signals are dropping off. So let me just continue, with Rob, maybe about the financial aids and their career choice. What do they do? Daniel is back. It's a little tough for me, but I want to hear Daniel talk more because that's the question that a lot of people would like to know about the red flags. Go ahead.
Okay, so one of my biggest pet peeves is on the communication side. When I get an email that I know is kind of this blanket email, generalized email to all coaches. I like when I work with I teach a lot of kids for a living. Outside of my college coaching, and when I work with them on communicating with coaches. A majority of what we talk about is your scores speak for yourself, but when you communicate with the college coach, you have to be personal. You have to tell them exactly why you're interested in their school. You have to talk to them what about their program interests you. You have to be you have to try and make a connection with the coach. You can't just send a blanket email out uh, and copy and paste the coach's name in there. It doesn't work. I can't tell you, I get 10 to 20 of those a day, and usually they just go right into my delete folder. So, um, I'd like to say I have time to read through all of them, but I work another full-time job and I teach 40 hours of lessons a week. And I know Rob does too. And I just don't have time to read an essay that I know was written to 50 different college coaches. I don't mind an essay if it was directed towards me and Marymount and our golf team, and I am more than happy to respond to a player that has worse scores, that has written a personal email than a player that has really good scores and has written a blanket email. It doesn't appeal to me. So um, that's my 2 cents on red flags. I also dislike withdraws and no shows and DQs. So we post numbers on scoreboards, not letters. That's it.
Hmm. I hear you. I hear you. And I think that's important, that they apply to your team and to your school, that they have the,
Yeah.
intentions and show that drive. So when they show interest, they want to study, they want to be in your team, um, you develop their career for future. Do you observe any trend, or what are the career paths that your students choose after graduation?
A lot of our players are in kind of the IT business financial sectors. I don't have a lot of engineering. I don't have a lot of medical. Not that you can't at the D3 level. That's definitely that's it's kind of harder to be an engineering major or pre-med major, law, major. It's very, very time consuming. Not that you can't, but you're looking more at like liberal arts and business and communications and that kind of stuff. But I I think that there's a lot of especially in our area, in the DC area, there's a lot of poli sci and a lot of uh, there's a lot of business connections out here, and so we do have a lot of kids after graduating from Marymount go into the politics or go into business homes. So there's pretty good size network out here.
Yeah. That's good. I think that a lot of kids, or actually parents, are concerned, whether it's going to be the right choice to focus on golf and not to, but to have that balance, that they have their options, to go to other careers besides professional golfer. I think it's a good thing for family to plan. So let me open up for the questions from the audience. If you have a question for coaches, turn on your camera and speak up, or type it in the chat room and I will read it out.
I would also just add on to your last question. I think it's really important for kids and, even like their parents to ask immediately and make it clear what the kid wants to study. I think sometimes they don't say that. And there's a lot of programs where, let's say it's engineering or med school, they won't allow you to play college golf, and do that. So I think, like Rob said earlier, communication is everything. And so I think it's being fully transparent on like, hey, this is what I want. Does this align with your program? What you can do as well is very important.
Agree, I agree. Okay, if there's no question from the audience, I have okay. I've got, I think, Josh, right? Okay, George.
Yes.
Hi.
Well, Coach
Our
Daniel,
CEO,
Coach.
Josh.
Well, thank you, PK Chai, for hosting the event, and then congratulations, Coach Daniel, Coach Rob, a great champion this past week, and thank you for Coach Melinda who joining us for today. I listening in. I lock in as another name, so that's why nobody know came in. But I learned a lot from you guys. Great information. So one question, and I'd like to each one of you should help share the thought on this. Is that what's the biggest transition between junior golf and college golf? All right, score personal issue, whatever, anything that you experienced in the past. Because we've been trying, and every year we have failed some, not a whole lot, but the more we learn, the better we will be. Thank you. Let's start with lady first, Coach
Uh,
Melinda. Maybe?
Yeah, awesome. I think it's more of kind of finding your place in the program. I think kind of like the small fish, big pond concept, right? I think sometimes some of these kids come and whether they're, the top of their national team or top of their high school team and, they're dominating in their region and then they come to, University of Minnesota and all 9 girls are competing to play. So it's like their spot's now secure. And so confidence is huge, right? Like believing in your own game. And so that's the biggest transition that we see. A lot of whether it's freshmen or transfers we get, and not all, but some come in. That's the biggest issue is feeling like they're good enough to play, and they know they are, but almost like they get in their own heads when they get here, which is the talent. Go into some of these tournaments. Our first event was the Annika tournament, which is amazing. But we have some girls that that's one of the best college tournaments in the country. So some of these girls are playing with your number 1, number 5, number 10 girls on Wagger. And that's an experience that, they're not going to have before this. So I think it's just, having the confidence that you do belong, you can play here.
Good, good. Let me lead it up on that. Annika, a lot of people don't know it's a biggest one of the biggest event that you play, and also how many days between first day of class and Annika tournaments?
Yeah, so for us, so we in Minnesota we start a little bit later, so we have a longer summer, so we don't even start classes until September. But we have roughly this year we had roughly 13 days, so
See?
we do have some time to get in qualifying
Yeah.
rounds, train. So
Good, good, good.
yeah,
Well, thank you for your thought,
yeah, thank
Coach
you.
Daniel.
Yeah. I actually, hey George, what was your question again? You said what's the difference between junior golf or how's the transition work between junior golf and playing college, right?
And college golf.
Yes, sir. And then prevent them to fail, basically.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest difference in watching these kids grow is that in high school a lot of kids are being their hands are being held by their parents. And then they get to college and they've got the class schedule and they've got the golf schedule, but everything else is their open free time. And so from a personal standpoint, they have way more freedom than they know what to do with, and that gets kids in trouble. They go, okay, well, I can skip class because it's 1% of my attendance, and that doesn't really matter. Or I don't have to eat at this time, or I don't have to go to sleep at this time that my parents usually tell me to go to sleep. And so, I see it often where kids with that had no freedom in high school and now have a lot of freedom in college. They start, it takes them a little while to adjust to that. And through the first semester, they kind of just get lost. The grades suffer, golf suffers, their personal life suffers, their sleep and their health suffers a little bit. And we don't want, as college coaches, we don't want that. That's really bad for performance. So, I know when a kid's grade is, one of my players' grades are suffering, they don't play good golf. It's not conducive to playing good tournament golf because they're worrying about what their professor said on Thursday when they have to go play a practice round on Friday. So we talk about on our team, at least, we talk about getting really good grades first, making sure that your sleeping habits and your eating habits and your working out habits are all in line and in check, and then you can start qualifying. So that's an important thing for us.
All right. Well, great information. Too much freedom is mean too much distraction, I guess.
Or
I guess it's the same,
the
whether they are student athletes or not, adjusting from high school to college, it's a big deal. And you have golf to worry
correct.
about, so must be a lot of pressure.
I
And I
I think
guess if they're going to places like Minnesota, they have to adjust for like the weather and stuff. as well, right? Okay.
Yes, we definitely do, but yeah, we definitely do have to adjust for the weather. But that's why we're always gone. We're always traveling, going to nice places. So
Yeah, I
All
think Coach
right.
Daniel is to try to finish.
Yeah, I think one thing that players can do in high school to prepare themselves more for college is be a little bit more independent in high school. Look at the tournament schedule yourself, set the tournament schedule up yourself. If your parents need to pay for a tournament, that hand it off to them to do that. Figure out the travel logistics for yourself. Figure out how to get to the golf course and practice for yourself, that kind of stuff. And I'm not talking. Look, I'm not saying go catch an Uber to the golf course all the time, but you know, when your parents are telling you that you have to practice at this time on this day, or that you are playing a tournament at this course and you had no clue you were playing a tournament there, that to me is screams that you're going to struggle in college because you're not independent enough.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. I
Okay.
hate to cut
Thank
you
you,
guys
Coach.
off, but yeah, we
Wait,
have
wait, last minute. Can we have one last minute with Coach Rob? We haven't heard from him yet about this junior golf to
okay. Yeah, go
college.
ahead.
Sure. The one thing I think is time management. What we try to do is to try to set up schedules so that they feel like they have a regimen of what they're trying to do. It's pretty simple to lay out, time to exercise, time to go to class, time to practice, and then downtime. And what I mean by that is taking a day off and just enjoying yourself. And a lot of times the team does activity together, or friends do activity together, which kind of normalizes yourself. And I haven't really seen a big drop off in play. Most of my girls play just as well as they do in tournaments there. So I feel like that kind of chemistry gives you an easy transition to play better college golf. I think figuring out how much time you need range time, how much time you need on the golf course, how much time you need exercising, how much time socially do you need. I think it's just time management. And for me, it's very simple. It's easy to kind of manage those things if you know what you're looking for. And in the spring, time goes much faster because it's more of a condensed season, just because you have more tournaments on that side and the championships coming on. So getting your practice in, trying to get your team to peak is really key. And spring break is a good time for us to go away, playing a couple tournaments. We usually go down to Florida, and it gets us off to a good start. But once again, manage yourself with your classes and everything else, and seems like everything else takes care of itself.
Great. Well,
All
thank you,
right.
Coach Rob.
Okay. I have to wrap up this session because we have another session in a few minutes, but it has been a great discussion. Hope everyone learned a few things. And on behalf of Mazda Thailand and partners, I would like to thank coaches again for spending valuable time with us and give us insightful information. Coach Rob Ferguson and Coach Daniel Neben from Marymount University, Coach Miranda Green from University of Minnesota. It has been a pleasure. In a few minutes at 9 p.m. Thailand time, we will be talking to Coach Amy Bush-Herser from University of Nevada, Las Vegas, Coach Keith Larson from Lynn University, and from Future Champions Golf Tour, or FCG, the PGA President and CEO Chris Smil, and Director of Tour Development Greg Dumlow. Oh, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube in order not to miss great contents and get in touch with us. Our contact information will be up on screen in a few minutes. Yeah, and for tonight, well, thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
thank you,
Thank you,
Thank
coaches.
you,
Coach.
Appreciate.
coaches.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, coach.